Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now we will present our linear algebra assignment. Our member are Rizky Alfiado, Faridatun Ima, Afia Nurani, Safira Sifa Kamila, Istiaza Laili Nurjannah, Silma Kamila, Fikri Agustina, and Fika Kumala Azukruf. Next. First, we will learn about inner product. An inner product on the vector space V is a function that associates with each pair of vectors in V. Say U and V, a real number denoted by inner product from U and V that satisfy the following axiom. First axiom is sama dengan inner product from U, V equals inner product from V, U. This is a symmetric or Hermitian symmetric. The Euclidean and space section is an inner product given two vector in two dimension. U equals U1, U2, blah UN. V equals V1, V2, and Vn. Inner product from U and V equals U dot V equals U1, V1 plus U2, V2 plus UN, Vn equals U dot V equals inner product from V, U. Next. Okay, example. First, let V A, B continue function and inner product from P, G equals integral from A to B fx gx dx, and let U, V in V space. In the product from U, V equals integral from A to B ux vx dx equals inner product from U, V. And then let U equals 1, 2 and V 3, 4. Inner product from U, V equals U dot V. U1 V1 plus U2 V2 equals 11. And from inner product from V, U equals V dot U. 3 times 1 plus 4 times 2 equals 11. It's the same. U inner product from U, V and inner product from V, U. Next. Okay, axiom number 2. Inner product from U plus V, W equals inner product from U, W plus inner product from V, W. Suppose that U equals U1, U2, UN, and V equals V1, V2, and Vn are two vectors in two dimensions, and that A1, A2, and An are positive real numbers. Then the weighted Euclidean inner product is defined to be inner product from U, V equals A1, U1, V1 plus An, UN, Vn equals inner product from V, U. So suppose that U, V and W are all vector in dimension n. Inner product from U plus V, W equals A1 times U1 plus V1 times W1 plus A1 times U1 plus V1 Vn times W1 equals inner product from U, W plus inner product from V, W. Next. Okay, example. Inner product from U plus V, W equals integral from A to B ux plus Vx plus W y Wx dx. So inner product from U plus V, W equals inner product from U, W plus inner product from V, W. Example number 2, let u equals 1, 2, v 3, 4, and w 5, 6. Inner product from u, w equals u1, w1 plus u2, w2 equals 17. And inner product from v, w equals 39. So inner product from w plus v, w equals inner product from u, w plus v, w. That is equals from 56. And the inner product from u, w equals to 17, and inner product from u plus v equals to 4, 6. Inner product from u plus v, w equals from 56. Next.
So for the next axiom, we have inner product cu, v equals to c inner product u, v. Suppose that u and v are all vectors in a vector space v and c is any scalar. Given two vectors in Rn, which is u equals to u1, u2, u3 until un, and v is v1, v2, v3 until vn, and we use Euclidean inner product is given by inner product u, v equals to u1 v1 plus u2 v2 until plus un vn. And we will be proven that inner product cu, v equals to c inner product u, v. So we have to substitute cu, which is cu1, cu2 until cun to inner product cu, v, and we have cu1 v1 plus u2 v2 until cun vn, and factor c out from each of them. So cu1 v1 plus cu2 v2 until plus cun vn, and combine the terms under the scalar c is cu1 v1 u2 v2 un. So we have the product u, and it has been proven. So for the example, let u is 1, -2, and 3, and v 4, 0, 1 be vectors in R3, and let C is -3 be a scalar, so that the inner product such -1, and the answer is -3. So the inner product satisfies linearity in scalar multiplication because C inner product u, v equals to inner product cu, v, which is -3. And for the axiom D, inner product u, u greater than equals 0, and inner product u, u equals to 0 if and only if u is 0. Suppose that u are a vector in a vector space V, so u is u1, u2, u3 until un, and the Euclidean inner product of u, u is u1 square plus u2 square until plus un square. Since the term ui square, the square of real number is non-negative, their sum is also non-negative. So for inner u, u greater than 0, if inner product u, u equals to 0, then u1 square plus u2 square until plus un square is 0, since ui square greater than equals 0 if each ui equals to 0, hence u is a factor 0. So if u is 0, then inner product of u and u is 0. For the example, suppose that f of x are continuous function on the interval a comma b. Prove that inner product f comma f greater than equals to 0 and inner product f comma f equals 0 if and only if f equals to 0. First, we'll start with the following integral from f to b, fx times fx dx, and we got that integral from a to b is f squared x dx. Now recall that if you integrate a continuous function that is greater than or equal to 0, then the integral must also be greater than or equal to 0. Hence, inner product from f comma f greater than equals to 0. Next, if f equals to 0, then we'll have inner product f comma f is 0. Likewise, if we have inner product f comma f is integral from a to b, f quadrat x dx equals to null, then we must also have f is equals to null.
Is defined as the norm of u, denoted as double bar u is equal to the square root of u squared plus u2 squared and so on up to un squared. And the inner product space definition, if V is an inner product space, the norm of U denoted as double bar U is equal to the square or root of the inner product of U with itself. And the properties of norm is non-negativity. The norm of U greater than 0 for all vector U. Norm are always non-negative. Definiteness, the norm of U equals 0 if and only if U equals 0. Scalar multiplication, scaling a vector by C scales it norm by absolute of C, triangle inequality. The length of U plus V is less than or equal to the sum of their lengths. And the next definition, distance in inner sebelumnya. Okay. For U, V element of V, the distance between U and V denoted as DUV is the represent the distance between 2 points U and V, where DUV is the distance. The notation of U min V refers to the norm or of the difference between vectors U and V, and the formula can be written as the square root of the dot product of U minus V with itself. Next. The example for each of the following compute U inner product V, the norm of U and DUV for the given pair of the vector and inner products. Given a vector U2, min 1, and 4, and V3, 2, and 0 in R3 with the standard Euclidean inner product, the solution there really isn't much to do here and other than go through the formula. And the inner product U and V, we get 4, and the norm of U, we get the root of 21, and the distance UV, we get the root of 26. Next. Next. And the point B, with the weighted Euclidean inner product using the weight W1 is 2, W2 is 6, and W3 is 1/5. The solution is we can calculate that and we get the inner product of UV is 0 and the norm of U is the root of 70.2 and the distance UV is 59. Next. Next. U equal X and V equal X to the power 2 in C10 using the inner product defined in example 4. The solution of the inner product of U and V, we can calculate that and we get 1/4 and the norm of U, we get this, and the distance UV we get like this. Next.
5 theorem. In theorem 1 is linearity in the first argument, antilinearity in the second argument, conjugate symmetry, scalar multiplication as we noticed at past, and last we have zero vector. And this we have proved it using some of the things that have been proved in the product sub discussion at the beginning. Now we have theorem 2, that is Cauchy squares inequality. It tells suppose U and V are two vectors in an inner product space, then absolute of the product of U and V is less than or equal to multiplication of norm U and norm V. And there is proof for this theorem. First, we consider the scalar function ft, like written in here. After we expanding ft, we get this. Since we have non-negative norm, then we have ft must be greater than 0. And by simplifying gives the inequality, we got this theorem. Okay, and next we also have this theorem 3, like we noticed in beginning. Yeah, this is just simple theorem and proof. Okay. Nah, before we go into the next discussion about orthogonality in this subbab, we introduce to the orthogonality of vector by definition 4, that suppose that U and V are two vectors in an inner product space. They are said to be orthogonal if the dot product of U and V is equal to 0. Nah, in example, we have vectors U is 2, -1, and 4, and V is 3, 2, and 0. In R3 are not orthogonal with respect to the standard Euclidean inner product. That means if we multiplication each element in these vectors, like 2 plus 2 multiplication with 3, -1 with 2, -1 with 2, and 4 with 0, we calculate that the product of U and V is 4, that is not 0. But if we give weights to them with W1 is 2, weight 2 is 6, and weight 3 is 1/5, then these two vectors can be orthogonal. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm Safira Siva Kamila. Here I will explain the definition and example of some vectors are orthogonal. In the first definition, for suppose that U and V are two vectors in an inner product space. They are said to be orthogonal if V equals to 0. Note that whether or not two vectors are orthogonal will depend greatly on the inner product that we are using. Two vectors may be orthogonal with respect to one inner product given on a vector space, but not orthogonal with respect to a second inner product defined on the same vector space. For the next, we will discuss orthogonal matrix. We will start with the following definition. The definition 1, let Q be a square matrix and suppose that Q inverse equal Q transpose, that we call Q an orthogonal matrix. Notice that because we need to have an inverse for Q in order for it to be orthogonal, we are implicitly assuming that Q is a square matrix here. In the theorem 1, suppose that Q is a square matrix, then Q is orthogonal if and only if Q multiplied by Q transpose equal to Q transpose multiplied by Q equal E. We will to prove in theorem 1, we will assume that Q is orthogonal, and so we know that Q inverse equal to Q transpose, but this promptly tells us that Q transpose equal to Q transpose Q equal E. In this direction, we will assume that Q transpose equal to Q transpose Q equal E, since this is exactly what is needed to so that we have an inverse. We can see that Q inverse equal to Q transpose, and so Q is orthogonal. The next theorem gives us an easier check for matrix being orthogonal. In the theorem 2, suppose that Q is an n times n matrix, then the following are all equivalent. In the point A, Q is orthogonal. Point B, the columns of Q are an orthonormal set of vectors in Rn under the standard Euclidean inner product. In the point C, the row of Q are an orthonormal set of vectors in Rn under the standard Euclidean inner product. Proof in the theorem 2, we've actually done most of this proof already. Normally, in this kind of theorem, we prove a loop of equivalence sets there. However, in this case, if we prove implicity P and implicity C, we can get the above loop of equivalence by default, and it will be much easier to prove the two equivalent as we'll see. The equivalent implicity P is directly given by theorem 2 from the previous section, since that theorem is in fact a more general version of this equivalence. The proof of the equivalence implicity C is nearly identical to the proof of theorem 2 from the previous section, and so we'll leave it to you to fill in the details. Since it is much easier to verify that the column or rows of a matrix or orthonormal, then it is to check Q inverse equal to Q transpose. In general, this theorem will be useful for identifying orthogonal matrix. The next theorem gives some very nice properties of orthogonal matrix. In the theorem 3, if Q is an n times n matrix, then the following are all equivalent. In the point A, Q is orthogonal. In the point B, length Qx equals to length x for all x in Rn. This is often called preserving norm. In the point C, Qx multiplied by Qy equals to x multiplied by y. For all x and all y in Rn, this is often called preserving the product. Proof in the theorem 3, we will prove this set of statements in the order A implicit B. We'll start off by assuming that Q is orthogonal, and let's write down the norm. The length Qx equals to Qx multiplied by Qx. The length Qx equal to Qx times Qx squared. However, we know that we can write the dot product as the length Qx equal to x times Q transpose Qx squared. Now we can use the fact that Q is orthogonal to write Q transpose Q equal to E. Using this give the length Qx equal to x times x squared equals to the length x, which is what we were after. We will assume that the length Qx equal to the length x for all x in Rn. Let's assume that x and y are any two vectors in Rn. Then using theorem 8 from the section on Euclidean n space, we have Qx dot Qy equal to a quarter of length Qx plus Qy square minus a quarter to length Qx min Qy square equivalent and similar to a quarter of the length of Q times x plus y square min a quarter of the length Qx means y square. Next, both x plus y and x min y are in Rn, and so by assumption and use of theorem A, again we have Qx times Qy equals to a quarter of the length x plus y square min a quarter of the length x min y square equals to x dot y. Which is what we were after. In this case, we will assume that Qx dot Qy equals to x dot y for all x and all y in Rn. As we did in the first part of this proof, we will rewrite the dot product of on the left. X dot Q transpose QY equals to X dot Y. Now rearrange things a little and we can arrive at the following. X dot Q transpose QY mean X dot Y equals to 0. X dot Q transpose QY mean Y equals to 0. X dot Q transpose Q mean Y equals to 0. Now this must hold for X in Rn, and so let X equals to Q transpose Q min EJ. This then gives Q transpose Q min EJ dot Q transpose Q min EJ equals to 0. In the theorem to point A, from the Euclidean and space section tells us that we must then have Q transpose Q min EJ equals to 0. And this must be true for all Y in Rn. That can only happen if the coefficient matrix of this system is the zero matrix, or Q transpose Q min E equals to 0. Then Q transpose Q equals to E. Finally, by theorem 1 above Q must be orthogonal. As a final theorem for this section, here are a couple of other nice properties of orthogonal matrices. In the theorem 4, suppose that A and B are two orthogonal n times n matrix, then in the point A inverse is an orthogonal matrix. In the point B, AP is an orthogonal matrix. In the point C, either determinant A equals to 0 or determinant A equals to -1. Prove the theorem 4. The proof of all three parts follow pretty much from basic properties of orthogonal matrix. In the point A, since A is orthogonal, then its column vector form an orthogonal, but we only need orthogonal from this set of vectors. Now, by the definition of orthogonal matrix, we have R inverse equal to R transpose, but this means that the row of R inverse are nothing more than the columns of A, and so are an orthogonal set of vectors, and so by theorem 2 above, inverse is an orthogonal matrix. In the point P, in this case, let's start with the following norm. In the length of a Px equals to the length of a Px, where Xn is any vector for Rn, but A is orthogonal, and so by the theorem 3 above must preserve a norm. In other words, we must have the length Apx equal to the length Apx equal to Px. Now we can use the fact that B is also orthogonal, and so we'll preserve norm well. This gives the length Apx equals to the length Px equal to the length x. Therefore, the product AP also preserves a norm, and hence by theorem 3 must be orthogonal. In the point C, in this case, we will start with the fact that since A is orthogonal, we know that A transpose equal to E. And let's take the determinant of both sets, determinant A transpose equal to determinant E equal to 1. Next, use theorem 3 and theorem 6 from the properties of determinant section to rewrite this as determinant A times determinant A transpose equal to 1, determinant A times determinant A equals to 1, determinant A squared equals to 1, then determinant A equal plus minus 1. So we get the result. Next, for the example for orthogonal, find value for A, B, and C for which the following matrix will be orthogonal. Here, this is matrix Q with Q in this. So solution, the example is the column of Q are Q1 is here, Q2 is this, and Q3 is this. From Q3 in the equal to matrix ABC, we will leave it to you to verify that with the length q1 equals to 1, the length q2 equals to 1, and q1 dot q2 equals to 0. And so all we need to do is find A, B, and C, for which we will have the length q3 equals to 1, q1 dot q3 is 0, and q2 dot q3 is 0. Let's start with the dot product and see what we get. q1 dot q3 q1 dot q3 is b over the square root of 5 min 2c over the square root of 5 equal to 0. q2 dot q3 equals to min 2 over 3a plus 2 over 3b plus 1 over 3c equals to 0. From the first dot product, we can see that b equals to 2c. Plugging this into the second dot product give us c equals to 2 over 5a. Using the facts that we know what c is in terms of a, and plugging this into b equals to c, we can see that b equals to 4 over 5a. Now, using the above work, we know that in order for the third column to be orthogonal, it must be in the form in the way equals to a 4 over 5a and 2 over 5a. Finally, we need to make sure that the third column has norm of 1. In other words, we need to record that the length w equals to 1, or we can record that the length w square equal to 1. Since we know that the norm must be a positive quantity here, so let's compute the length w square, set it equal to 1, and see what we get. In this, uh, 1 equal to the length u square equal to a square plus 16 above 25a square plus 4 above 25a square equal to 45 above 25a square. Then a equal to plus minus 5 above 5 over the square root of 45. Set it equal to 1 and see what we get. 1 equals to the length w square equals to a square plus 16 over 25a square plus 4 over 25a square equal then 45 over 25a square. Then a equal to plus minus 5 over the square root of 45. This gives us two possible values of a that we can use, and this in turn means that we could use either of the following two vectors for q3. In the q3 equals to, then q3 is 5 over the square root 45, 4 of the square root 45 and 2 of the square root 45, or Q3 is minus 5 over the square root 45 minus 4 over the square root of 44 and minus 2 over the square root of 45. Okay, that's all, and the next material will be explained by my friend.
Next is orthonormal, where the definition is as follows. Two vectors are said to be orthonormal if they meet the following two conditions. 1. The vectors are perpendicular to each other, which means the dot product between them is 0. 2. The length or norm of each vector must be equal to 1. The conclusion is two vectors u and v are said to be orthonormal if the dot product between them is 0 and the length.
Next example, orthonormal. The problem is given two vectors u 2, 1 and v 3 minus 3, 0 in the vector space R3. First, normalize the vectors u and v so that their lengths are equals to 1. The second, determine whether the normalized vectors u and v are orthonormal according to the given definition. For solution from the problems, we know that u equals vector 2, 1 and v equals vector 3 minus 3, 0. First, we will calculate the length of u. The formula is length of u equals root of 2 square plus 2 square plus 1 square, and then we get 3. Then normalize vectors u norm. The formula is u norm equals u divided by length of u, and then we get vector 2 divided by 3, 2 divided by 3, 1 divided by 3. Next, we will calculate the norm of v. Length of v equals root of 3 square plus minus 3 square plus 0 square. Then we get 3 root of 2. Next, normalize vector v norm. The formula is v norm equals v divided by length of v. Then we get vector 1 divided by root of 2 minus 1 divided by root of 2 and 0. We have vector u norm is 2 divided by 3, 2 divided by 3, 1 divided by 3, and vector v norm 1 divided by root of 2 minus 1 divided by root of 2, 0. First, we will verify if the normalized vector have a length of 1. Length of u norm equals root of 2 divided by 3 square plus 2 divided by 3 square plus 1 divided by 3 square, and then we get 1. And length of v norm equals root of 1 divided by root of 2 square plus minus 1 divided by root of 2 square plus 0 square. Then we get 1. So we get length of u norm and v norm is 1. And then check if the vectors are orthogonal. The formula is u norm dot v norm equals 2 divided by 3 times 1 divided by root of 2 plus 2 divided by 3 times minus 1 divided by root of 2 plus 1 divided by 3 times 0 equals 0. Since the dot product is 0, so U norm and V norm are orthogonal. So we can conclude that the vector U and V can be normalized, and then U norm and V norm have a length of 1, and the U norm and V norm are orthonormal.